Hello. What's going on, everyone? I am back because I really want to cut this video very quickly before. Oh my gosh, it's 6 o'clock. Okay, we got to be quick for real. Let me grab this link really quickly and share it to my other social media platforms because I have to meet my mom very shortly. I promised her and I will be there. Guys, while we are waiting, what I want you to do is like, share, subscribe to the channel. This is going to be a good video. Dang, I should have started this like 15 minutes ago. Okay. Sorry about that if you heard that. But yeah, we are going to address something that I talked about in my free Facebook credit tips group. If you are not in there, you should be in there. It is called Learn to Use Not Abuse Credit on Facebook. If you don't have a base Facebook, then I'm sorry, but I can't pay for a platform because you're not on the free platform that I'm using at the time. So just get in where you fit in and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. What's the benefit of being in the group? Well, there are certain things that I talk about in the group that I will never talk about publicly. As a matter of fact, this is actually a personal comment that someone made, and I am going to address their comment, but I have blacked out their information. If you're in the group, then you know who it is because she posted publicly in the group. So it's not like she inboxed me. But this is something that is a common question, something that people should think about. There are certain debts that do not appear on your credit, right? And some people are like, well, should I pay it? And so that's what I want to know from you guys. Should you pay debts? Do you think that you should pay debts that are not appearing on your credit report? I want you to tell me that really quickly. Remember, we don't have a lot of time, so it's super important that that's not the thing I want. Super important. That you go ahead, come on in, share, and invite people. Would you pay a debt that is not reporting on your credit report? Yes or no? I want you guys to answer in the comments. Let me see what y'all are saying. Hello, tell me where you are watching from, regardless of whether you are a replay viewer or a current viewer. I always like to know that as well. Egyptian, you said no, you would not pay a debt that is not reporting on your credit report. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get to this because, like I said, I'm definitely pressed for time. Let's talk about it. Let's dig into it a little bit. This is the screen that I'm sharing, right? No, it is not. This is the screen that I'm sharing. Okay, so this person in my group answered and they said yes, because just when you thought it doesn't matter, it shows up like a snake in the garden. I have one thing on my credit now that's driving me crazy. I guess I will pay it off or try to settle. Okay. So I'm glad that she even answered, because a lot of people saw this question and she was the only person that answered, which is why I'm going to address her answer. So I told her, I said, okay, interesting perspective. Just curious, what's the one thing on your credit driving you crazy? Right? Because that definitely matters, guys. Okay, we got some other. Okay. See, we got a lot of ethical, moral questions going on. Let me show y'all some of the comments real quick. Hey, Annie Taylor from Texas. Thank you for joining. All right, Stephanie, I think we should pay those that we owe. However, if we don't have the money, then that's another thing. That's an honest answer. Then Stephanie says, think about someone borrowing money from you and refusing to pay you back. No, you are not in Savannah, Stephanie. You lying. Girl, where you at? You know that's where I am. All right, don't get me off topic. I got to meet my mom in a minute. Girl, you know that's where I'm at. Now I'm curious. You by the old mall or the new mall? You know, we only got two malls. But anyway, let's see about it. Annie said, yes, pay it maybe. Later it will show up on your credit report. Okay, so but what we're talking about is something that is not currently on your credit report. So let's go back to let me go back to my screen share, because I was looking at y'all's comments. Did I take it off? because I really want to get through this. I want to give y'all some food for thought here, okay? So I said, what's the one thing on your credit report driving you crazy? She said, it's an old Verizon account that I had for my daughter. It was off my credit for now. It was off my credit. I guess she means for a while. And now it's back on TransUnion and Equifax. Has it as zero balance, and Experian has it with a 728 balance. So I'm thinking of paying it, shaking my head. My score is 638, 642, and 641, according to Identity IQ. So she has credit monitoring. That's good. And then I said, no. Do you know that paying it won't automatically mean it will be taken off? What's the date on this alleged debt? Was it sold to a third-party debt collector? When did it get back on? Ask both CRAs. For those of you who do not know, that stands for credit reporting agencies, aka the bureaus. Y'all call them the bureaus, to verify it. Right? So let's go back. I'm going to see what else. Oh, you didn't know I was in Savannah, Stephanie? Yes, I am. So guys, this is very, very important. I'm going to highlight Stephanie's comment. Think about someone borrowing from you and refusing to pay you back. That is true. Morally, you should definitely pay back money that you owe. However, guys, what I need y'all to know is this. First and foremost, if something is not on your credit, have you ever heard the phrase, don't wake the sleeping bear? Don't wake the sleeping bear, y'all. If it is not on your credit and right now you're financially strapped, it is not at the top of your priority list. Should you pay it from a moral standpoint? Absolutely. But it is not at the top of your priority list. And here is why. Sometimes this way of thinking, what Stephanie just said, well, if you owe somebody, you should pay them. That is true. However, do you understand that you could wake the sleeping bear? There have been people who had that mindset and they couldn't pay the full bill, but they paid a portion of the bill. So then they contacted the creditor, gave them a portion of the money, but not the full amount. And then something that was not on their credit report magically now appeared on their credit report, and they restarted the statute of limitations on the debt. Do you understand that when something is not on your credit report, there's something called a date of last activity? When these creditors call you and they're saying, hey, this call may be monitored for credit, for quality assurance, or whatever the heck they're saying, they're not monitoring it to make sure that their customer service reps are doing a good job. They're monitoring it because they're trying to get you to agree to pay the debt from the date that they are talking to you so they can restart the clock on the date of last activity. So you can come into this game with your moral compass. I'm not shouting at you, Stephanie, okay? But you can come into this game with your morality at an all-time high. But what you fail to understand is that you're also dealing with immoral corporations. So while it is good to do what is morally right, I'm going to need you to be strategic. So if you want to clear your conscience and clear your debt, you got to go in with certain stipulations, because just like I told this person, just because you pay the debt, do y'all know that doesn't mean it'll take it off your credit report? Have you ever heard of that? If you haven't, you've heard of it now. Because there are some debt collectors, and do you know that you can pay a debt to the debt collector, aka debt buyer, and then the original creditors still come back and sue you for the debt? Y'all think I'm playing with y'all? Definitely I'm not. Imagine that. Let's say you owe the well, Discover doesn't really sell. Let's say you owe Stephanie. Stephanie sells the debt to David. David says, hey, I have proof of that debt that you owed to Stephanie. She sold it to me. And you pay David because you're like, well, I did borrow the money. Okay, David says he has the debt. And then Stephanie comes back and says, hey, you owe me. And you're like, no, I paid David. And she was like, Stephanie's like, why you did that? You owe me. See. Y'all don't understand the game that y'all are playing. Stephanie said, I didn't know. And that's why I'm happy you here, Stephanie. Like I said, I wasn't hollering. Challenge if it's a third party. And so you saw what I asked her, Annie. I said, I didn't mean to call you Ann. because your name is Annie. I said, was it sold to a third-party debt collector? This is a very important thing. If it's Verizon, right? Is the debt with Verizon or is the debt with a third-party collector? Because just because they bought evidence of the debt doesn't mean they own the debt. Just because you owe the debt doesn't mean the person asking you to pay the debt to them owns the debt. And this is a very real thing. Imagine having to pay the debt twice. And it can happen. It has happened. This is not a game. Okay? This is not a game, y'all. And I'm so happy that y'all have showed up today. Like I said, we're not going to be on here long. This is something that we're going to talk about a little bit more because it's very, very important. Y'all, we don't have money to be giving away. And yes, you should pay your debts, but do not pay them to people who do not own them. And also do not restart the clock unnecessarily. If it is not on your credit report, it is not at the top of your priority list. And guess what? Even if people own the debt that you owe, you still have to make sure that they're doing right by the debt. Just because you owe them money doesn't give them the right to do whatever, charge you crazy interest fees, play with your money. All right. Let me highlight this other comment. I pay the people that I originally owe, is what I'm saying. Bump the collection agencies. Okay, Stephanie. Right. But guess what, Stephanie? Again, what I need you to understand, sis, is even if you pay the people that you originally owe, don't ever give your money without stipulations. We think that they hold all the cards. We think that they have all the power. That is not true. You pay that debt and you get a stipulation. Hey, I am paying this debt provided that, and I need in writing from you, I need an email before I pay the debt, that if I pay said debt, that it will not appear on, you will delete the debt from my credit. Because you can pay the debt and they still have it on there as a negative. Okay? Super duper important. Oh my gosh. Annie Taylor, thank you so much, sis, for this super sticker. This shows me that you really do appreciate what I'm doing. You have no idea how much I appreciate this. Annie Taylor, thank you so much for sending the $20 to me. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna highlight that again before the broadcast ends. But this is very important. And if y'all, I didn't know you were in Savannah, is what I was saying. Oh, Stephanie. I thought you were saying you didn't know what I was saying about the debts, but this is very important. But yes, sis, I am in Savannah. Yes. So that is very interesting. Very small world, right? Very okay. You totally get that part. Let me show y'all something though, because I still like to I'm going to share this tab instead. When I say I do this, I do this. When people book private power sessions with me and they want, by the way, guys, I'm not a credit specialist. I'm not a financial person. I'm not a nothing. I'm just a silly girl in Savannah, Georgia, talking her ish on the YouTuber. Okay. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. That is my disclaimer because I don't need nobody coming at me. All right. But let me tell y'all something. When I say I do this, I do this. I lose sleep doing this. Studying, all of this is all free information that you have access to it just like I do, because these are Instagram live videos, hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. This one was 2 hours, this one was 1 hour, this one was 1 hour, this one was 1 hour, this one was an hour, this one was an hour and a half, this one was 2.5 hours. I watched all of those within the last 24 hours. And that is how I'm able to pull from so many different places. And these are people that I paid to do a mentorship with, but they give you free game on IG. Now, will you have time to watch like 8 hours worth of videos in 24 hours? Probably not. I have trained my brain to listen to it on super speed. I watch while I'm doing the dishes, house chores, everything. And then I come back later and I make notes to refer back to, because when people book private power sessions with me and they have things going on, I can't fix all your problems in 30 minutes or an hour. But what I can do is tell you exactly what video to go to, exactly what point in the video to listen to for you to go to the source and dig deeper to get a solution. So let's talk about the video I watched last night, right? And this Jen Sanford, hold on one second. He was doing, oh my gosh. Who was the guy? I got to remember what the guy said. Hold on. Oh gosh, it was less than $100. There you go. Balance was less than $100. So there was a video. This video, it was a run back the repo testimonial. This was a IG live done on November 16th. And so again, when people book private power sessions with me, I'm able to pull from so many different resources that I finished this listening to this 3:06 in the morning. Y'all were fast asleep, right? Counting sheep. Your girl was up listening to this stuff, right? That's why I appreciate Annie for sending me the $20 because she's saying, hey, Kim, I value the time you put into being able to deliver us this information. So 11/16, that was 4 days ago, a gentleman did a testimonial, and then I always link to the exact IG live. Now, sometimes this stuff gets taken down, which is why I have learned the hard way to go ahead and make my own notes, because some of these IG lives don't stay up forever. Y'all don't understand. People get tired, people get hate, people get bad messages, and they say, you know what, shut my whole account down. That has happened to me before, where I have had good information from a source and I made notes, and then I went to go back to the source and it's gone. It's deleted. They got tired. So I always make my own notes. But when I say you still have to be on top of your P's and Q's, this gentleman, what did I say? It was right here. So around the 1850 mark in this video, and it's hard because IG Live doesn't do a good time. But this guy right here, he was talking about how he, and this is a man who has sacrificed a lot. But one of the things that happened with him is that he opened up a credit card, and from the giddy up, he set it up on automatic payments. They were not pulling his payments on time, right? So he did his part. He had 5 late payments because they were not pulling his payments on time, or something funny was going on. He contacted the creditor. He even looked up the fintech company that was doing the payments and contacted them. They tried to say it was conclusory, which basically means no basis for evidence, right? Do you understand that because he understood the power? Number one, he knew. Now, somebody could say, well, he was late making the payment, so he owes that debt. No, they were doing funny business. Okay. And so his balance on that card was literally less than $100. Do you know, because he knows his stuff, that company ended up having to pay him $4,500 because he used the federal FCRA, stands for Federal Credit Reporting Agency. I mean, Federal Credit Reporting Act. I'm getting nervous because I got to go. But because he knew those laws, this debt that was less than $100, they had to cut him a check for $4,500. Now, if he was just the type of person to say, well, I don't know why they keep giving me these late payments, I don't know, but I do owe the debt, so I guess I'll just pay it. Instead of him getting a check from them, he would have been giving them money. So I really want y'all to understand this, that just because you owe someone, it doesn't give them the right to do whatever they want to do to you. Jen also, now luckily for Jen, she studied law, she studied accounting. Her dad was an accountant. She gave she told her story, 2.5 hour video. There are some of you guys, I see some people in the comments of, y'all, you talk too much, the video too long. Y'all, you don't get to tell people how long to talk and tell their story. If it's 2.5 hours and you got something good to say, I'm there. Like I said, I've trained my ear to listen to stuff on double speed. Okay, so 2.5 hours for you is less than an hour and a half for me. I do what I have to do, and I need you to do the same thing too, because this information is priceless, and it literally can change your life. It can mean the difference in you paying a debt or you getting paid for a debt. So Jen was talking about, what was Jen was talking about? Dang, where was it at? Because let me tell you, this video last night, Jen is a bad chick. Okay, hold on one second. Where was it? Shoot, what did she say? They were charging her too much interest. That's what it was. I think I got to remember how I actually wrote the notes, and I'm going on very little sleep because, as y'all can see, there we go. So it's at point 2320 in this video, right? So at point 2320 in this video, Jen talks about how her very first card was with Nordstrom. Now, because Jen knows accounting, she noticed that they were overcharging her in the interest. She filed a CFPB complaint and they didn't do nothing, right? But then they ended up having to eat those words because they later sent her a letter apologizing, but they only offered to credit her the amount of the interest. She hit them with the arbitration and got all she wanted. Do you know that a lot of your credit card agreements have arbitration clauses in them? Capital One and Discover do not, but a lot of credit card agreements do. Do you even know what that means? Do you know that if they try to take you to small claims court because it's cheaper for them, you can force them, you can file a motion to compel arbitration because the arbitration clause is in their account. But guess what? It's in their agreement, but they only want to use it when it benefits them, not when it benefits you. So you can file a motion to compel arbitration, get it moved from small claims court, get it moved to the arbitrator, get your ducks in a row, and do the same thing that Jen and all of these other people have done. And again, these bills that you owe, it doesn't give them a right to violate you. These people had to pay Jen. Why? Because she was right. Although she did owe the debt, they were overcharging her in interest. And you cannot do that. You don't get a right to violate me just because I owe you. It's a small world after all. Yes, you welcome. I really appreciate you, Annie. D Nice, what's going on? You back again, friend? Checking in. Okay, awesome. Are y'all enjoying this? I'm going to have to end this shortly. But the other thing I want to talk about is that the young lady said, right? She said it was a Verizon issue, right? So let me go back to this document. And this is only a document from this one IG account. Goodness gracious. If I pulled up my notes from the consumer protection attorney, a lawyer in Alabama, John Watts, man, that's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of stuff that I have curated so that when somebody books a power session with me and they ask me certain things, I can tell them, okay, this is exactly where you go to find out more. Can I fix all of your situations in 30 minutes to an hour? No, because I don't have a magic wand. And a lot of times this stuff does take research and digging. Most of you work full-time jobs, maybe got a family, husband, wife. You don't have time to watch all this content like I do. Really, I don't have time for it, but I make time for it. I do make time for it. And this is literally what I do. I get the information, I give it to you, and I turn information into compensation. And people who value, like, again, the gentleman, do you think it was worth it? He had less than $100 owed. It turned into a $4,500 check. Jen, she owed, I don't know what she owed on that Nordstrom account, but Jen gets paid all the time. She gets paid all the time. And that's why I study at her feet. But what did the person in my group say? This is a Verizon debt, right? Look at this person. Here goes another student testimonial. This person had an issue with Verizon too. Verizon has what? An arbitration agreement. A lot of telecommunications companies have arbitration agreements, y'all. D Nice said, Gems. Yes, I'm not playing about this, D Nice. This is stuff we do not know, and it's ready available to all. But at the 13-minute mark in this video, this person, yep, this was it her? I think it was her. This young lady. These are real people, y'all. We got a white guy. We got a young black brown lady. We got a butter pecan lady like myself. Okay, all shades, all colors, all genders. People that look like me and you. But because they took the time to study, they learned about their credit. And then once they got that good foundation with their credit, they went on to consumer protection laws. Again, instead of them paying, they're getting paid. This is important. So the person in my group has an issue with Verizon. I bet you she doesn't know Verizon has an arbitration agreement. This person did know. And Verizon settled with them 2 days before arbitration. Okay. This is another video. This one's from August 14th. Okay. At the 6:30 mark in this video, sent billing error and notice of dispute. I don't too much dabble in the billing error because now you can do a lot of that stuff with FCRA stuff, or like they said, arbitration clauses. But sorry if I'm talking over your head, but just keep listening. A lot of this stuff I didn't know, when I first heard it, I was like, what? But if you listen long enough, what is foreign to you becomes familiar. So The bottom line is, all you need to know is that this person right here also had an issue with Verizon. Verizon cut her phones off when she did a billing error, so she paid $800, but she ended up getting over $3,000 from them. So just because you owe doesn't mean they have a right to violate you. Just because you owe doesn't mean that you should pay if you do not have a clear understanding that paying will be to your benefit, that they will do what's right when you pay, and they will delete the debt from your credit report. There is no point in you paying the wrong person. There is no point in you paying and still being penalized as if you didn't pay. So while I agree with everybody who says if you owe a debt, you should pay it, make sure you're paying the right person, and make sure that you are not further punishing yourself by allowing somebody else to violate you just because you owe them. Does this make sense? I hope it does. Annie, you are the sponsor for this stream. Thank you again so much for the $20. You have no idea how much it means to me. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I appreciate you, sis. Guys, I have a free credit tips group. It is called Learn to Use, Not Abuse Credit on Facebook, and you should join that group. I am in there looking for people who are serious about this. A lot of the information that I share with you all, I paid for, or I tapped into people. Like all of those Instagram lives I just showed you, they're free. However, I am a part of that group's paid community. One of the best investments I ever made, because they come with receipts. They come with student testimonials. In the community we have in there, it is small. But when I say, and I will tell y'all this, I was going back and forth like, should I do the mentorship? Should I do the mentorship? And I'm so glad I did. I think I was one, they only accepted 40 people. I was one of the last people to get in. It was a sacrifice. I'm a single parent, and I have had so many people steal from me in the last 8 months. It's not even funny. So when I say I appreciate you, Annie, I really do. But regardless of the financial issues I had, I made the sacrifice to join that group. And I'm so glad I did. You know why? Because they're not even doing the mentorship no more. And the 40 of us who got in on their mentorship, they grandfathered us in for life. I just found out. And I literally was in my house crying because I made the sacrifice. And now they're like, we just so happy that you 40 of y'all believed in us. So we got y'all. We got y'all. And I'm just like, thank you, God. So guys, I'm telling you, obedience requires sacrifice, but just study who you're giving your money to. Don't be out here following the people with the flashy cars and the great marketing, because I'm telling you, Remedy Takeover, Jen, Dam, all of them, Zuma, Van, their Instagram followings are so low. And you know why? It's because they're not flashing cash. And that's really a shame. We take for granted a lot of things, but this is the season, y'all, where we got to stop doing that. So I'm going to get off. I got to get dressed and really run out the door. Thank you all for watching. Thank you so much. Again, like, share, subscribe. Do all of that. Share this video. I'm going to directly message the person who this was for and let her know, hey, sis, I gave you some food for thought. Again, thank you so much, Annie Taylor, for being the sponsor for this stream and sending a $20 super chat. I appreciate the $20, but I would be just as grateful if it was $4.99. Every bit helps. Thank y'all so much. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. All right.